everyone and welcome back to my channel. Please excuse my hair today, it's kind of just doing whatever it wants. Anyways, let's get straight into the tutorial. So to start off with, I feel like once you try to create a dewy kind of look, it kind of fails once you start adding your powders and stuff like that. So to prime my skin, I'm going to use the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. You guys would have seen my little tutorial and review using this. I really like it. It just gives you a really nice glow from underneath your foundation. So even though you're packing on all these powders and stuff to make sure that your face is set, this is still going to give you a really dewy finish. It really just gives it that extra bit of coverage and it's just so beautiful on the skin. So once you have your primer on it, give it a minute or so just to settle into your skin. I find that if I start working with this a bit too early before it settled into my skin, it starts like rubbing off, and you can actually see the product rubbing off once you're putting your foundation on. So now that the primer settled into my skin, I'm going to go ahead and start with my foundation, and I'm using my NARS Sheer Glow foundation. I'm in the shade Stromboli. I love this foundation because it gives you such like a nice dewy finish while really giving you great coverage. I do find that if I wear this foundation for a long time, I do start to get more oily than I would have if I was wearing a matte foundation, but obviously that's just because this is more of like that dewy finish foundation. So I'm going to start off using a foundation brush and just applying that all over my face. I'm spreading it out first just so I can get an even layer of product, and then what I'll do is go over it with my makeup sponge. So now that I've got my nice even layer of foundation on my face, I'm going to go in with my makeup sponge and just make sure that I pat that into my skin so it's all nice and blended. I know this foundation looks extremely yellow on me, but once I set it and finish the rest of my face, it will all come together, and it is oxidizing, so it will match me by the end of it, I promise. I'm just going to add a little bit more foundation on my cheeks here where I have some scarring, and on my chin. Definitely take your time to make sure you blend everything into your skin. I'm just using the leftover product on my foundation brush just to bring that down my neck. As you guys can see, my chest is quite white, so I'm just going to lightly go over that with whatever product's left on my foundation brush, really. Even though my chest is really white, I just want it to look like it's blending through and not like I have a really yellow tan face and then a really white chest. So even though my chest is really white, like I'm not even going to bother with that part. I'm just going to make sure that the foundation blends through. So I've just tied my hair up in a ponytail just so you guys can see my face a bit better. Okay, moving on, I'm going to go ahead and conceal. For my under eye area, I use the Maybelline Fit Me in the shade 20, and I always use a lighter shade than my skin color underneath my eyes just so it has that brightening effect as well. This also adds to like the glow slash dewy look that we're trying to go for. And I just like to put that in a triangle. Sometimes with my NARS Sheer Glow foundation, just because it is so yellow, I like to use my LA Girl Pro Conceal. This is in the shade Natural. It's got that little bit more of like the salmony undertone, so it's not as yellow, which counteracts from that yellowness in the foundation. It's still very brightening underneath the eyes as well. And because it's that salmon color as well, it also counteracts the blue and purple tinges you can get in dark circles underneath your eyes. So this is a really great brightening concealer for underneath your eyes. Now I'm just going to take the pointy side of my makeup sponge and lightly pat this concealer in. I'm also going to take it over my eyes because my eyes are quite dark, and this will act as a base for my eyeshadow later on as well. So we don't want to lose too much of the coverage from the concealer, so just really lightly patting it in. So you can see there how I've just left the product on there but just blended it through to the foundation, and it's already made my under eye area really bright. I find that when you pat the sponge harder on the edge, that's what really makes your concealer blend into your foundation because you are sharing out that product. But you definitely want to keep a concentrated amount around where you have dark circles or just underneath your eyes where you want to brighten up. With my eyes, I do get very dark circles, but I also get a lot of redness just on my bottom lash line here. But I like to just bring the concealer as far up as possible into my eye, as weird as that sounds. And now I'm just going to quickly do my eyebrows off camera, and then I'll be back to show you guys how I do the rest of my face. So now that I have eyebrows, I can move on to the rest of my face. Underneath my eyes, I'm going to use the banana shade from the AC On Tour Kit just on my makeup sponge again, and I'm going to pack this on underneath my eyes just so that there's enough product on there for the concealer to soak up. Because it does have that yellow tinge to it, it's going to add to the coverage underneath our eyes. I'm just going to pack this on, and then I'll wipe off the excess later. And then for my contour slash bronzer, I'm going to use the one from the Maybelline Master Sculpt just because it's a really soft bronze colour, so it's not going to give me that harsh line. And I'm going to use the brush that comes with it because I really like the shape of this brush. It's great for getting that really precise contour. Using a fluffy tapered face brush, I'm going to take the contour shade and just use that to bronze up my face as well. I'm not applying too much powder because I just want this to be a very subtle look, because I want this to be all about the highlight on my face, all about the glow. So I'm just going to use this very subtly just to bronze up my face and give my face a little bit more structure. Using my makeup sponge again and that yellow powder, I'm just going to add this underneath that contour just to define it a bit more and set that area of my face. Moving on to blush, I'm using the Too Faced Love Flush Blush Palette. And I'm taking the shade I Will Always Love You, which is an orangey shade. And it's got a little bit of a shimmer to it. I think it's a gold shimmer. It's a very fine gold shimmer, and it's just going to help bring along our dewy look. I'm just applying a little bit of this on the apples of my cheek. Now, using a really big fluffy brush, I'm going to take the Rimmel translucent powder and just set my forehead, because that's pretty much the only part of my face that hasn't got any powder to set it with. So I'm just going to lightly dust this over and onto my nose as well. And then just using the brush just to also take off all the excess powder that we have. Moving on to highlight, I'm using the second one from the Carly Bible palette by BH Cosmetics. I'm bringing that as far down as to just get this point of my cheeks as well, just so you can see a bit of highlight from a front on angle. And it's not all about just when you go on the side of your face. But I'm just bringing a very minimal amount in that area. So you can see there how you can see that bit of a highlight just on the tops of my cheeks. I'm also bringing this shade just above my eyebrow here. So we're creating a C shape around our eyebrow area and down to our cheekbones, and that's just going to give a really beautiful highlight. I think a big part of the dewy aspect of your face when creating a dewy look does come from highlights. So you do need to make sure that you put it in the right places where it is going to catch the light. Now I'm just going to take the first highlight shade and just put that down at the bridge of my nose and on the tip here. The reason why I'm using the first shade rather than the second shade is because this gives you more of that neutral pink undertone, which makes it look more natural when it's on points of your face like your nose that's sticking out, rather than being on like the flat surface of your face. So it's really important to use like a nice natural shimmer. Going back in with the second shade again, I'm just going to add a little bit of that on my forehead here to catch the light again. And I'm going to add a little bit of that on my chin. Taking a tapered highlight brush, I'm now going to take the third shade, which is like a really true gold highlight shade, and I'm just going to slightly go over my cheekbone highlight just to intensify it a bit more and add a bit more of a bronze sort of aspect to it. Last but not least, I'm using my Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. This stuff is amazing. It's just going to get rid of the powder cast on your face and just set your makeup really beautifully so that it can last all day and all night. I absolutely love this stuff. I'm just going to hold it away from my face, spray it in an X and a T, so it should be a total of about 4 pumps. What I like to do is first I'll do the X and see if I've missed any parts of my face, and then try to aim for that in my 3rd and 4th pump. So I usually end up missing this part of my face, like the lower part, because I've sprayed quite a bit on this part. So I'm going to do a T like straight down and then more across this area here. And then of course just letting that settle into your skin and just make your makeup look beautiful. And that's the finished look. That's how I create my perfect dewy base. Wherever you can get that glow or highlighting, just do it and your makeup will be amazing. You will create the ultimate perfect dewy base. The reason why I like doing my base like this is because I know it's set, I know it's going to last, and I know it looks beautiful from every angle. Whether it's straight on, you can see the highlight on my forehead and on my cheeks and on my chin, hopefully. And then you can see more of that highlight from the side angle, which is what we all love. So that is how I create my ultimate dewy, glowy base. I hope you guys enjoyed this makeup tutorial. If you did, please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.